All right, so this was the previous game. I think it was round seven, my sixth game, I think. And this was a fine game. I think I didn't play that well. Like the conversion part, as you'll see, is a little bit frustrating to some extent, but I think overall it was a fine game. So let's see. It was e4, and I anticipated c6, then f3, e5. I played the two knights. Take takes, f6, queen e2, takes queen d5. Is all theory. Queen h4. Here, bishop f5, and I know this line: queen e6, bishop e2, queen g4, queen g3, and so on. But I didn't really know this bishop f5 line. Like I should know, but I just didn't see it before the game. Like, because I was preparing like just a few hours before the game. And here, of course, bishop c4 is the natural move. But then I got worried about queen e4, takes, and then like knight e5, e6, and this would be quite bad for me. I felt like, how do you stop g2 pawn falling? And the bishop's not doing anything. But in fact, here bishop takes f7. Of course, king f7, knight g5, winning a pawn. If I saw this, I would surely go for this. So I didn't play bishop c4, which is quite stupid. But d3 I played. D3 is, I knew during the game that it's not a good move, but I considered c3. I also considered like some other move. I forgot what move I considered. Something like queen d4 or something like that. Even this I saw, but I didn't want to trade queens because I really wanted to win this game actually, because he wasn't a very strong player and I lost the previous game against. Oh yeah, actually, I didn't record that game, but that game was not so good. So basically, so I wanted to win, and he's really not a very strong player, I felt. So I felt like I should grab the chance by not trading. So I played the really suboptimal, to say the least, d3, because this bishop is really not doing anything after d3. But okay, knight d7, bishop e3, e6, bishop e2, bishop e7. This is another time to think. Queen g3, queen a4, or queen d4. So let's first see queen g3. Queen g3 castles. Let's say in the game we're calculating like castles, bishop f6, and here I just didn't think it was a very pleasant position. Like the queen is not doing anything. Everything's cramped on the king side. There's no obvious plan as to what you should do. So I didn't really like this position. So therefore, I was trying to make queen a4 work because, as I said, I didn't want to trade queens. Queen a4 is the idea of perhaps c4 actually, if he allows it. c4 and then immediately d4. Even though that is likely too optimistic, but maybe if you play something weird, maybe that can work. But here, I saw after knight b6, maybe queen. Oh, knight b6 just blunders. Okay, anyway, I saw queen b3 and maybe takes and it's fine. But of course, okay, there's a tactic here, but I didn't see it. But I thought this endgame I didn't mind that much. So yeah. But then what concerned me was knight c5, and I have to play queen d4. But if I will play queen d4, then I might as well play it now, right? And I just play queen d4. Here, I was really worried about e5. This is really a move that really bugged me after I played queen d4. Luckily, he played bishop f6. e5 was very strong. Like, takes, and then this is a very passive position for me. and I have no idea how to play this. Really, this he has full central control. This bishop's not really doing anything. So yeah, but he played bishop f6, which is fair. Takes, and then knight d4. Here, it's important to evaluate the position. I think, like, are we better? So I took some time here. So the b2 pawn is hanging. You need to think about whether or not you should do something about it, and the answer is that you should, because there's bishop c3. So let's say you just play something like h3, bishop b2, b1, bishop c3 first, and then b6 or something like that, or knight b6, and you just lost a pawn. So you must do something about it. The first move you think about is d4, which looks very good. If you can play d4 and c3 in one move, then it will be perfect, probably. But you can't, because after d4, the c2 pawn just falls. So you might consider playing c3, something like that. But what is your plan next? Are you trying to play d4? Are you trying to play, like, I don't know, what are you trying to play? Perhaps here 95 is very, like, annoying. You must trade on e5. And then how are you trying to use your silly bishop pair against this bishop pair? It seemed very difficult. And as I said, I was playing for the win, and this is definitely not how you play for the win. So after here, okay, of course, you can play something like rook b1, but it does nothing. Like, you don't solve your structure. In fact, rook b1 just makes this plan even slower, because the bishop would be eyeing b1. So knight d4 is the sensible choice. Bishop g6. So, of course, he wanted to preserve the bishop pair, so he played bishop g6. Makes sense. And here, it is really important to really think about the position here. What do you want to play? So c5 is sort of coming, maybe not coming, because you have some knight b5, knight c7 ideas. You also, like, want to consider how you want to activate the light square bishop, because f3 is not really doing anything. Well, if you play c5, then it would be something, but he might not play c5. 95 maybe coming. So I thought it was important to play energetically. And so firstly, I was starting to consider h4. But then h5, and you're not really doing anything. I even considered g4, trying to go g5, h4, just expand on the king side, trying to make these bishops look awkward. But I didn't really enjoy this either. Like, let's say, I don't know, say h5, g5, bishop e7. I didn't really understand this position either. Like 95 maybe coming. And also still unsure where my bishop's going, actually. So, especially now I play h5, I can't even play bishop g4 to trade the bishop if I want to. So I didn't enjoy this. So I played f4. To expand, the immediate threat is f5. He cannot play something like c5 because of knight b5, and that would be quite pointless. Like, you destroy a structure, and then I'll play bishop f3, and I will be very happy here. So f4, so bishop d4. So worth mentioning something like h5. This is a really fun line. So f5, bishop h7. Maybe you would consider taking on h5, but there's like sort of a line like this, takes on d5, bishop d5. And then here it's very important to play g4 to put the bishop back, and then you capture on g7 this very important detail. So that is why he played bishop d4 immediately. If h6, it seems a bit soft. Like, yeah, it's quite passive. Maybe g4 will be a good option there. So he took on d4 and played f6, which I was very happy to see this move. Oh, sorry. Sorry. I was very happy to see this move f6 because I felt that, this bishop is really wonderful, and like there's some hope for this bishop on g4. Maybe bishop on e2. Maybe I can go to g4, maybe to f2. Especially now, the likelihood of him playing c5 is much greater. Bishop on f3 would be much more useful. So I castled here. Took me some time to think about the position, whether to start with bishop g4 or bishop f3, or to start with bishop f2, because sooner or later you'll play those moves. Castles, c5, bishop f2 immediately played. Castles, bishop g4. Here, the idea is bishop f3, but you have to evaluate whether or not it is useful to first, like here, bishop f3, bishop f7, and you are going to play like rook h to e1 or something. And you're trying to compare this position to this position after bishop g4, f5, put it back on f3, bishop f7, and this one. And you're trying to compare which one is better. And in the game, I thought, okay, of course, inducing f5 is very good. You put this pawn on light square, this bishop will look silly. So that's why I did this. And there are no other, like, you can try rook a8 actually. In the game, this really concerned me a little, because, like, if you take on d7, rook d7, bishop c5, it's an opposite color bishop. You win a pawn, like, winning a pawn maybe is really insufficient for a win, but okay, if he did play rook a d8, I will definitely take on d7 and have my chances there, or maybe a check and then bishop d7. But anyway, he played f5, which is what I expected. Bishop f3, bishop f7, forced rook 8. No, I didn't. Did I play these? I don't remember. Ah, yes, here. Okay. Okay, g1, rook e8, king d2. Here, I was very happy about my bishop pair. I was very sad for his bishop, so I'm quite happy, if that makes sense. And here, I know that I'm slightly better because of the reasons I mentioned, but how to improve the position? This is really a difficult question. Like, it's very difficult. I considered some ideas like b3. Also on the previous move, I considered all these ideas. b3, preparing c4, because I want to play something. Let's just say I play something like c4, and then he might take on c4. Let's say he takes dc. Let's say he plays, I don't know, or maybe rook b8, maybe bishop c4. Let's say bishop c4. I don't know, the knight's hanging, sorry. Knight f6, let's say. And then let's say I play bishop b7 here. And then let's say I go, okay, take first, whatever. Rook e8. Bishop c5, okay. So basically I considered these ideas. But maybe he didn't need to take on c4 as well. He could have tried like knight f6 immediately, perhaps. And here, bishop c5. Okay, then what if he just does nothing? Yeah, this was why I didn't play this, because of rook, no, maybe it takes first, or what, rook d8? Yeah, maybe it takes first, let's say it takes first, rook e1, rook d8. Let's say you take, like, this is definitely not the most cool position for me. So I didn't really do this. But here the engine suggests that bishop h4 first would be great, but okay. I forgive myself for not seeing that. But c4 is not the only idea. To occupy the e file is also a very principled choice, because the e file is the only open file. But how exactly are you going to achieve that? It's very difficult. Rook d2, rook e2 is too slow. And so I started to think about something like king d2. That's what I played. King d2. And I was going to play rook e2 and then rook e2 and then rook de1. And if he plays rook takes, then I'll play king takes. And I don't know why, but I thought that might be okay, like not so bad. But he played b6. And then, okay, here I really thought about the position. I really played rook e2. Are there any tricks with c4? This is a really important question as well. If you play c4, it's a rook a d8. Again, are you really going to capture this guy? Not really. So I played bishop h4. The idea is that I don't really have an idea. The idea is that I'll play bishop e7, bishop d6 maybe. I don't know. Like I don't know what should I do, but also I didn't know what he could do. And also after b6 the bishop's not needed on f2 anymore. So I just moved it, tried to transfer it to here. Maybe trade rooks, trade all the rooks, and then go bishop a7, some kind of vague idea. I didn't really know what to do. But I wanted him to do something so I can exploit it. Bishop h4. Knight f6. And I was happy to see knight f6. No doubt I took, because that was the whole point. Gf, d4. d4 is, to me, a very important move. Actually, the engine suggests rook e8, but after rook e8, you have to play d4. The reason you play d4 is because you want to stop him from playing d5, d5, d4. So you play d4, so you lock this bishop here. Rook d8, king c3, king f8, king b3, rook e1, rook e1, cd4. So after cd4, look at this extremely ugly pawn structure. 4 pawn islands, 2 double pawns, like 4, like I don't know how to even count the double pawns, they're so bad. Like this is surely painful for black to play. Rook d1, d3, rook d3, king e7, king b4. I was here. I think the plan is not correct. It is really not likely that you can catch these pawns immediately. So I think I chose sort of the wrong plan here. d4. Here, should play something like king b5. Then bishop a2 is something you have to calculate whether or not the bishop is really trapped after you play b3. But I didn't want to give the pawn, really. And then you calculate something like a3. But then you calculate something like a3. And then some ideas like rook c8 and then a5 come to mind. Because let's say rook c8, you play some random move, like here. I don't know. Not h3 is too random. Let's say, I don't know. Okay, just to illustrate the idea with h3. a5, king b5, bishop c4. This would be quite sad for me. So I don't want to play a3. Like a3 blocks the king too much in this side of the board. Of course, here you consider things like rook d4, but you hang the c2 pawn, so you don't really want to do it and things like that. But so all in all, I didn't like a3. That's my point. So I play rook a3, a5, king b5, rook d6, bishop e2 because I didn't know what to play. I really had no idea what to play here. And I thought, okay, bishop e2. Okay, the rook is doing nothing here, but I don't want to come back. So maybe bishop e2, just to stay flexible. Maybe bishop c4, maybe rook h3. Many ideas. Bishop e2, king d7, rook h3, bishop g6. Okay, bishop d3, king c7, bishop e2. Here I was sort of low on time. We're like down to 2-3 minutes. And so I was just, the thing is, I didn't want to trade anything except pawns. Actually, not even pawns. I want to win a pawn. I don't want to trade a pawn. Because I had no time to evaluate the rook endgame. Neither do I have time to evaluate the bishop endgame. And that's really something I think I did terribly. So bishop e2, rook d5 check, come back. And eventually the king came back after a journey. Rook h6. With the idea of bishop h5, because if you play bishop h5 here, it takes really, like, oh no, not take, sorry. Let's say king e6, this is the idea. Because he wants you to take, or maybe king e7, just the same. But let's say king e6, takes g5. No, not g5, let's say king f7 or something. Are you sure you're winning this one? I wasn't sure. So I played rook h6. So you don't have any of that. Because if like king e6, bishop h5, and then I will surely win a pawn here. But okay. Rook h6, rook c7, king d2. I played king d2 with a very, like, a very firm demeanor. Like, I was really sure about what I was going to do, which I wasn't acting. The idea after king e6 is rook h3. And I decided that, okay, I'll come back. King d5, rook b3. King c5, rook b5 check. King c6, a4. Again, with determination. And probably like 5 seconds. King b7, rook d5. Bishop e8. Here I rushed a little bit. I think perhaps bishop b5 would have been better, but again, I don't want to trade, so I play b3, but sort of allows bishop c6, but I didn't see it, so he didn't play it either. Here, rook f5. And this is a really funny position because I was, like, he played rook d6. I was so afraid. Like, I played here I had like 1-2 minutes, and I was so afraid. Is my rook trapped? Like, imagine it's his move. Bishop g6, rook d5, rook d5. I don't know, rook d5. Sorry, rook b5. Bishop e8, rook here, and then like, how are you making progress here? And I got so worried here. But very lucky, actually, there's this bishop f3 move that also safeguards the d5 square. So I really got so scared for 2 seconds, because like, not 2 seconds, 10 seconds actually, before I spotted bishop f3. And then, okay, here king c7, g4. He didn't even play bishop g6 to defend his pawn. Bishop d7, rook h5, b5 takes, bishop b5. And I took a few seconds, and I took him d5, and he just laughed out loud. And he resigned then. because yeah, there's nothing more to be done here. So yeah, okay, actually we can click the review. I never really did this, so let's see. I think the game was okay. Like uh, the conversion could have been more clean. Like I really like clean conversions, and I think it wasn't that clean, perhaps psychologically. So surely I could improve on that. Let's see. Just go through real quick. 24 takes 94. Yeah, pretty much it. Yeah, yeah. Okay, it's fair. So I'll play next round, but it's been quite busy recently, and I don't really have time to prepare a lot. But I think it's good to just enjoy the game. Like this game was 3 hours and 15 minutes, and it was really interesting just to focus and immerse yourself into the position and calculate all the ins and outs without thinking about anything else. It's not a bad feeling actually. So yeah, that would be it, and